It's the Your Little Castle show where we highlight those leaders who are building and establishing all those wonderful places that we get to go visit or live in here in our community. T&A Drywall Solutions is going to tell us all about how to put up drywall where you can really finish a home or a commercial project. Giddy up. Welcome to the Your Little Castle show. Yours truly, Carter Rethwish, a.k.a. the Cardinal Cowboy. Got that hat here. We're going to put that on here in just a minute. But we talk a little bit, off the beaten path without the hat. We have a little conversation, just a little chit chat with us, with all the excitement that the hat brings to the show. But with that, if you missed the first interview, everybody, you got to check out what we talked about, because we obviously have an expert here that knows what they're talking about and can give you some great insight when it comes to when you're doing construction and why you want to do it professionally and how you get it done the right way. With that, this is one of my favorite questions, and that is, what's the biggest mistake that the average homeowner makes when they're deciding to get some construction done that includes some drywall? And what do you see that people make as the biggest mistake?
Yeah, absolutely. And as you could probably guess, it's either trying to DIY it themselves or find the lowest bid that they possibly could. I know some of this stuff can be kind of expensive at times when you're remodeling and whatnot, but in the end, like I said in the first interview, it's something you're going to see every single day. It's not hidden behind a wall. It's not covered up. It's right in plain sight for everybody to see. So I think it's pretty wise to go ahead and make sure you have somebody that's doing the job that knows what they're doing, and that you could be confident that you're going to get a good finished product.
Yeah, because why wouldn't you want something to look the part? Because you can always tell when something has been done haphazardly. So if they get that cheapest price, it's cheap for a reason. And we talk about this quote we've used a few times. Tell me if you agree with this one. Cheap can get very expensive.
Yes, it can.
Especially if you have to redo everything.
Absolutely.
You talked about the fact that you do residential and commercial, and it sounds like you do quite a bit of commercial too. Tell me about each and what you like about them.
Yeah, absolutely. I like you said, I do a little bit of both residential and commercial. They both have their good and bad. Residential, I think you're more personable with the homeowner. You're like I said, you're dealing with them. In a lot of our situations, they're currently living in the home, so you have to treat it as if it were your home and keep it clean and do it in a timely manner and respect the homeowner. On a commercial standpoint, it seems like it might, in our instance, it's more of a job security. They're usually larger projects, so it's a little bit easier to get in and just run and keep your head down on a commercial project, but because there's usually a lot of work that is entailed with that. But they both have their goods and bads. We love them both, though.
Yeah, they both pay the bills. It get a little more personal
Absolutely.
when you're working on somebody's home, but the commercial jobs, man, there's a lot of money at stake there, and these guys, their timelines are very important with commercial too.
Absolutely.
Right? And so we need this place to be open in 6 weeks, so need you to be done at week 3 or whatever.
A lot of long days, in the commercial side of things.
And is there times very often you're doing more than 8 hours a day? Do you have to sometimes put in some overtime?
Yes, absolutely. Majority of the time, especially in the commercial setting, like you had said, it's kind of on an urgent request. So there's a lot of 10, 12-hour days, Saturdays, and whatnot that come into play on those commercial projects.
There you go. Some long days, including some Saturdays. There we go. Hey, all of us that we're willing to get the job done, we'll work on Saturdays, everybody, and because that's what it takes sometimes. What do you like about the St. Louis market and the people you deal with here? I understand people in St. Louis are generally very nice compared to many other big cities out there.
Yeah, I had nothing but good things about everybody from St. Louis that we've worked on. We're happy to be there. It seems like everybody I know doesn't generally want their drywall fixed, but they have to, right? And when they do, right. I think things are pretty good, and we're coming in and we're able to fix it for them and get their homes back in order, and it's good to give back to St. Louis in that aspect.
What percentage of the work you do is repair from a storm or water damage or a fire, and what percentage would you say is new remodeling that's being done for homeowners?
Right now, with some of just the weather situations we've had here in St. Louis, it's been more, I would say, probably 50% of water damage or tornado damage over the last year. And then new construction, like I said, half and half pretty much as of right now, just because of what
Okay.
we've been through and all the rain St. Louis has got this year. So,
Okay, yeah. So there's a lot. The weather has an impact here in our little community, and drywall, if it's not dry because of the roof or problems or a pipe that blew, is that where you end up? We had a
absolutely.
storm, frozen pipes, and so is that what happens? If is there any salvage for drywall if it's been saturated with water? Can you let it dry out, or does it start to warp? Or what are some of the problems if you have a pipe blow or something like that?
Yeah, usually on our aspect of things, because we're not a restoration company, so we don't know how to really properly assess the situation. So we'll just go ahead and tear it out and redo it. I know there's companies that can dry it out by poking holes and ventilating it and trying to salvage the drywall. I just ideally don't think that would be
I
the
was going to
best
say,
way.
it wouldn't sound like that's the ideal
Right.
method to get
Yeah.
something to look new, because once water's been in there,
Right.
you start getting mold and all kinds of other problems.
There's some ways to get around it, but I would advise just tearing it out and starting from new. That way you have no worries in the future on that drywall.
Yeah, your remediation process there, if you will, and I would imagine your other big companies who do the water damage stuff, they're going to recommend it be teared out. Do they hire you in many times, and you'll come in to do those kinds of projects?
Yeah. So a lot of water and fire restoration companies will assess the situation, and then we'll come in and either demo it or reinstall it, and then go from there.
And 90% of the time, it's just pulling off the drywall, the sheetrock. How often do you have to fix a stud or something that got wet or damaged, or some woodwork too?
Right. It's on the metal side of things. It probably rarely happens unless when you go to take out the drywall, they cut the metal stud in half, and then that would be an issue there. With the wood framing, it just kind of depends on how severe the water damage was. Majority of the time, the studs are salvageable. They're able to be used, and because a lot of it, that's why they have that treated bottom plate on the floor, so it can take some water.
Okay, but you can assess that pretty quickly and tell just something needs to be pulled
Absolutely.
out. But you know how to do the drywall reinstallation, if you will, and put the 2x4s in
Of
place
course.
and make those happen. And is everything still doing on a standards, those 16-inch studs now, or measurements, or what is the typical?
Yeah, we would generally like to go back to where it was. So, I mean, there's different ways. You can completely rip the wall out, or you can, add supports as needed. But yeah, we stand on the 16 on center standard when we go back to finish the product.
Yeah, that makes it pretty substantial. So there's some space in between there, so you can move some things around. But at least you've got that support there.
Absolutely.
And it's always a 2x4 at least.
Of course.
To do that as well. Cool. Tell me a time though when you had to really go out of your way to help somebody. I can only imagine with all the storms and the damage, the tornadoes that came through. There's been a number of times where you're like, okay, here's somebody who needs us to go a little bit above and beyond.
Yeah.
Give me a couple examples there.
Yeah. So we were doing a basement remodel, complete demo into framing, drywall install, finishing, and painting. And as we were demoing the old paneled walls, it's out of our scope of work, but we noticed that the homeowners' walls were cracking. Concrete walls had huge cracks in the side of the building. So instead of just going ahead and framing it and covering it up and acting like we never seen it, we informed the homeowner, and it turned out that it was a big foundation problem, and they were able to get that fixed, and now they won't have to worry about that in the future.
Yeah, that's something you better catch, because once you cover it up,
Right.
like you said, once you put the drywall over it,
Yep.
they're not going to notice there's a big problem until that wall is letting some serious
Exactly.
water or some other damage come through there. How big of a problem could that one have been? Could it have been the whole wall was going to deteriorate and fall apart, or just water damage, or what did you see?
I'm not too well rounded in any of the concrete aspects of the project, but I would imagine that it would have been very costly. If even if it were a smaller issue, still very costly. I would imagine.
We've had some foundation guys talk to us, and it sounds like there's nothing less than like $3,000 for a good sized crack.
Right.
But you're talking about an entire wall that's got to be replaced, or jacking up a wall.
Exactly.
Then you're talking $10, $15, $30, $50,000, and
Yeah.
you circumvented some of that. Now, did they have to go to the insurance route to get that fixed, or do you know what they did to get it recovered?
There was actually a general contractor that was in charge of that project. So we informed the homeowners, and then we also informed the general contractor. So after that, they kind of took it in their hands to get the problem solved.
Nice work, yeah. Looking out there to make sure to take care of those and do the job right. It's just a little bit of because it might have been easier for you to just cover it up, finish the job, get paid, get on to the next jig. But it slowed you down a little bit, but you came there and did it right.
Wouldn't be able to sleep at night.
That's an important thing. We do want to be able to sleep at night. Small business owners are a little more adept to that because our whole business depends on one job to the next and the reputation we carry. That's important. What's the biggest challenge you've had to overcome as a business owner? There's challenges every day, but was it getting started? Was it expanding your team? Tell me about some of the challenges you've run into that you said, oh, wow, didn't see that coming, but you learned from it.
Right. I wouldn't say necessarily getting it started. I think getting the business started was relatively easy comparative to what most people think. Our biggest issue, I think, is just kind of when things slow down, what can we do to continue moving and finding more work and keep the team going and keeping the drywall work going.
Yeah, when there's a big shift in the economy, and especially during lockdowns and all the craziness we had a few years ago, everybody was trying to scramble to figure out what you were doing. But was there a little boost in some areas because people were then staying at home a lot more often? Were they doing some expansion? They wanted to finish their basements? You had to do some drywall work like that too?
Yeah, it was kind of an odd situation during that because you either had where they were tired of it, so they did want the expansion, or they did want to see something new because they were tired of seeing the same things day in and day out. But then you had to decide where, they didn't necessarily want us there just due to, COVID and all that at the time. Yeah.
In general. Interesting stuff. Well, yeah. It's good to see somebody that can tackle that and is kind of sensitive to just the nature of how somebody's dealing with these kinds of issues. But when you're working on somebody's home and they've got water damage, or it's just a matter of they've got a bid and somebody says, oh yeah, you can do this whole room for this amount. And you're saying, well, here's some things. What are some of the impacts? Is it how many outlets there are? Is it how tall the wall is? What really impacts the cost to do a job?
Generally, the square foot of the amount of drywall you're going to install. Okay. Ceiling height definitely has an impact into it because there's definitely going to be a different price from an 8-foot ceiling to a 28-foot ceiling.
Right.
And then a lot of your corners and just fancier finishing beads and all that. So if it's a square home or a square room, it's generally going to be on the cheaper side. But if it's got a bunch of different off angles and everything like that, there might be a difference in pricing there.
Yeah, and if you've got that inset where you got a little cut into the roof and the lighting fixtures and all those things, those add more to it.
Absolutely.
And you've got the pricing that can fit around there. Well, there you can tell we have an expert that knows what they're doing. And if you're looking to get some drywall work done, give Taylor, my buddy here, a call. And T&A Drywall Solutions, ta-drywall.com, 636-744-5656. I like that phone number you got there.
Awesome.
And
nice
you service the whole St. Louis area.
We do, and surrounding counties.
Okay.
Yep.
So quite the expansive area he'll cover too, and get you taken care of. With that, some more of our community involvement, and then our community piece that explains why we do this, and then we'll be back here in just a minute. Stay tuned, everybody. We'll be here. Get up. Very good. All right, we've got Matt, Scarlett, Aaron, and Violet all here. Did I get them right? That's right. All right. They're the Reeves family. That's right. Hey, my buddy Brian Reeves. Where you at, man? Brian played some baseball. Supposed to be related somehow. Yeah. Matt, tell me, what do you like to hear about the spring training?
Peak baseball experience. If you love baseball, spring training's the place to be.
Yeah.
There it is. What about you?
I just love the Take Me Out to the Ball Game song. Oh, yeah.
Take me out to the ball, Scarlett.
And we get the ball side.
Oh,
we got Newt.
Yeah, new bar this year.
Thank you. Thank you, Lars. Newt's here.
Yes.
All right.
Just
Aaron,
I like that it's more intimate and you can be closer to the field and the players are all excited.
Yeah, I like that, Violet.
The weather's also really nice, and I like how nobody's ever stressed because it's just spring training.
That's right. We were losing today, but
Go ahead. But we had fun anyway.
We still had fun.
We did,
All right,
yeah.
you guys. Well, how many times have you been down to spring training?
This is number 2. This is number 2 for us. Hopefully, second of many.
There we go.
Yeah. How about you?
Annual. This is like my 4th time down here,
Nice.
3rd in a row. We did once back in the day. Brought Dad down here. Dad's up in baseball heaven now, and we come down every year. But yeah, baseball
Are you
gave us.
St. Louis?
I'm a St. Louis. I'm the Cardinal Cowboy in St. Louis.
You are? Do you still live there?
Yeah.
Okay, nice.
Have you seen me running around there?
Yes.
Okay. There
Just
we go.
making sure you're still there.
That's me. That's right. Still in St. Louis. All right, everybody. On the count of 3, let's go Cardinals.
Okay.
1, 2, 3.
Let's go Cardinals!
Giddy up.
His name is Carter Rathwich, but in St. Louis, he's known as the Cardinal Cowboy. He's a well-known fixture in the stands at sporting events in the Gateway City. He's one of its greatest cheerleaders, a super fan like no other. When he makes his rounds at almost every home game, he shares his love for sports with the rest of fandom with a smile, a cheer, some positive encouragement, and lots of selfies and pics. But the Cardinal Cowboy was born of a tragic incident. Rathwich was an aspiring athlete in high school and college. He dreamed of playing in the big leagues, but those dreams ended when he and 3 of his college friends were hit with a devastating crash by a 5-time drunk driver. One of his best friends died. Carter suffered a critical head injury. The trauma put him in a coma for 6 days. The doctors said he was never expected to function again. Those expectations never came true. He fought back and finished college. He was determined to prove the doctors wrong. Among other inspirations, it was his love of baseball that kept him going. And from his near-death experience, the Cardinal Cowboy emerged. His goal in life became to inspire others with positivity despite the odds, to help people believe in themselves and achieve their dreams.
So after my coma, I realized that it was up to me if I was going to accomplish my goal, if I was going to reach my dreams. Despite what the naysayers would say, the people that were discouraging me, like they do everyone, it's up to me if I'm going to make it. Don't listen to the naysayers. It's up to you. You decide whether you're going to succeed, whether you're going to reach your goals. Dream, and then always, always chase your dreams. Never give up. Giddy up. So we're hearing all the time now why people need to be on our show, and it's pretty obvious. These days, the stats are proven. If you're going to get people's attention, you've got to get them with video. Google loves video. YouTube obviously is where you put your videos, and it's just a no-brainer. The problem is, until we kind of put together this whole format, there's no other way to get this kind of quality for the cost we put together. Because I'm a computer nerd, because I figured out how to automate, systematize, we've systematized this. Mom and Dad made me go to computer classes just in case the professional baseball career didn't work out. And so we started off doing 1 show, then 2 shows, then 3 shows, and then we had to jump to 5 shows a week just to fill the demand, because here you get a professional video that looks dynamite, that lets your business really showcase what they do, and you don't have to spend $10, $15, $20, $30,000 to do it. So if you'd like to be on the show, get a hold of us and understand these stats. When you're on a show like this, when you put this on your website, you're going to decrease your bounce rate by 34%. You're going to increase your close rate, your conversion rate, by up to 80%. We have clients tell us they get 25% more closed deals because of the show. They track this. They can speak to that. And you're going to just get an overall boom for your business. You've got to do video. If you don't do it through us, do it somewhere. Do it yourself. But do it professionally. Don't make your business look worse. Make your business look better. This video can be used for up to 7 years. We have clients, we did an interview with them 2020. It's 2026. They have made over $360,000 by using our video. They came back to do it again. So get a hold of us. Jump on here. Go to bigleagues.com. That's BIGG leagues.com. Or call us or text us right there, the phone number you see there. And we look forward to having you on our show. Stay tuned. Giddy up. So there you have it, everybody. Lots of fun. And we like to help people understand the impact you can have on your business to get a professional video put on your website and your social media that'll help you to close more of those deals, because people will see that you're a legitimate company doing good work. to impact our little place on this planet. So with that, we talk about how has media changed the way you do things. So magnetize your media. You can do that yourself these days. I talk about it as the introduction here I wrote. And my buddy said, Carter, nobody we know has done more to help people put their stuff out there and get their name out and to do it themselves. Pick that up. This is a number one seller on Amazon. Pick that up. Magnetized Media. I wrote the foreword for that. But tell me though, how has technology changed? You got websites, social media. These are all important things to get your name out there. Reviews, you talked about it. Tell me about how the whole digital world has impacted your business.
Yeah, I think the digital world and having everything online is a lot easier to find leads and get yourself out there as a business as well as find work at the same rate. So I generally think it's a good thing. It's nice, it's convenient, it's easy if you understand it.
Yeah, well, these days it's just if you don't get on top of the technology and get your information out in front of people, your competitors are. And so it's good to see you got a great looking website and social media. And again, those reviews you got. So many people on Facebook saying nice things about you. And the BBB, all those things are great assets to have out there on the interwebs because that's where people will research you and say, oh, I'm all word of mouth. Well, they're going to still look to see that you exist. At least you exist, right? If you don't have a website, you're killing yourself. But having a professional video, we've got guys who talk about it. What are some of the mistakes that you see that other big companies make, though? There's a lot of big commercial companies out there you might compete with, or other big companies, but because you're kind of a tight-knit, you've got a smaller crew, a small business, what are some of the mistakes you won't let your customers make?
Yeah, I think with us, our job comes with a lot of mess and clean up with it, and a lot of companies don't do that.
Really?
So we take a lot of pride as if when we finish the product, it looks like when we arrived at the job. We don't like to leave any messes behind or anything. If we made a mess, we'll get it cleaned up. And I find that too often that a lot of these clients I've gotten called, yeah, well, we had a drywall company come out and do our basement, but they left the dust everywhere, and I could just imagine that's terrible for the homeowner to have to deal with.
Yeah, how often is the cleanup something that none of us look forward to that, but you've got to get that done, especially if you're commercial or residential. So getting ready for a big Christmas party or Thanksgiving or birthday party, they want this thing to look nice. And boy, when you got to go back and do all the cleanup yourself, especially when you've got that drywall stuck on the concrete or on the wall,
exactly,
big clunking glob of that, and it's not easy. And then you they get the sander out. It's a lot of work.
Oh yeah,
make sure that's done completely and professionally.
Yep.
All right, good stuff. What's the biggest question people have for you though when they're considering your services? Does it always come down to price? Is it always how quickly can be done? What are some of the biggest questions people have for you?
Yeah, generally it's how long will the project take, because like I said in the past, it's sometimes they're currently living in the home, so they want to get a turnover as fast as they possibly can. So generally that's how long is it going to take. Pricing doesn't really, because we're pretty straightforward, that amount for that square footage or whatever. So it's quite easy for them to understand and get a good idea for pricing on that aspect.
Yeah, well, be straightforward there. Make sure that people understand what they're getting, but you should expect to pay a fair price. Do you have like a normal hourly rate, or is it a per job rate, or how do you price things for people?
Yeah, generally by the square foot. It kind of differs depending on, like I said, if it's 1/2-inch drywall, 5/8 drywall, the height of the ceilings. Is it just a simply squared room? All those factors come into play when pricing a project.
Why would somebody want 5/8, which is a little thicker than the 1/2-inch, right?
Correct.
Why would somebody want that versus 3/4 versus, is there 3/8, a little thinner?
Yeah, there's a couple of different options. Generally, it's just a 1/2-inch or 5/8. 5/8 is a fire-rated board, so a lot of people will use that, but it does come with a price. It is a lot heavier, and it's a little bit more insulated as well. So I guess it's just kind of on preference. Like I said, it's 50-50 on what people use, 1/2-inch, 5/8.
Okay, yeah, that's just a little bit of difference of that thickness, but the material that drywall is made out of, it's kind of a chalky substance. They call it sheetrock. Is it an actual rock that's been crushed together to make that, or?
I'm not exactly what it is made of. It's got like fibers in it, and some form of like a
rock, concrete,
Yeah,
finish, but it is very heavy.
correct.
And
Yeah.
so I know the average sheet. What does the average sheet weigh? Is it 15, 30, 50 pounds? I don't know. They're pretty heavy. But
Yeah,
these are some things you don't want to be moving around on your own. That's where you
Yeah, generally you want
professionals.
some help. If you've got it, it's nice to have it. That's for sure.
leave the heavy lifting to the crews that have done this for a living, that know what they're doing, and can get the work done for you. When it boils down to this, all, what ultimately gives you the most satisfaction for what you get to do every day? I mean, I can imagine you're taking somebody from a home where they're going, it's a wreck, or
Right.
it's just halfway there, but now you're coming in. And are you often brought in by a contractor that you work for them, or do you come in independently and give people the bids? How does that process work?
Yeah, it's definitely a mixture of both. We'll work directly with the homeowners, and we'll work directly with the contractors. It's I would say 50-50 on that. And our biggest thing when we finish a product or project is, like I said, it's the final look of what the homeowner or client is going to see. So that's our biggest satisfactory is the completion of the project, because when we're there, you're seeing studs and wire and ductwork,
Right.
and when we're done, you're seeing nice, smooth, straight walls.
Yeah, somebody's got the completed look, and they're like, oh my gosh, my home is finished, and now I have a place where I can live and have friends over, and the game room or the TV room,
Right.
or the man cave, all of those things that are now in beautiful array. Are you often framing for people to put their TV in this box area, or
Yes.
what are some of the custom things you do?
Yeah, absolutely. We're not so big on structural framing, but smaller projects like any custom cabinets or cubbies or whatever you would want framed up that you could essentially build into like a TV entertainment stand or something, as well as finishing basements and stuff like that, and room additions and everything.
Okay. Yeah, it's just that work that when it gets done, it looks dynamite. As we finish up here, I'm going to put up some of the work that you've got. Here's your Facebook page. Everybody can go there. Lots of pictures being added to the website that you've got. You guys have just updated. But if you want to look at some of this work, first I'm going to actually go through your reel, because you have some pretty good. Are you using some AI related things to create some promos for you? Because that looks pretty good.
Yeah, we're definitely starting to look into the AI aspect of things when getting into the marketing.
There you go. So you can see look at that finished room upstairs, and just, gosh, some of these pieces were so big. But let's go back over here, and I'll show off to everybody these. If you go to the photos tab and just scrolling down here, it's like, holy cow, you guys have put enough drywall up to cover a city. And but getting that finished work that you've got there, putting your fans in, finishing the ceilings for places that have. Wow, look at that room. And framing windows. Is framing windows another that's a special talent you got to have for that too?
Correct. Yeah, we generally don't really frame anything like a window or doorways or.
But I see the work that you've done there. You've got some good looking framing that apparently.
Oh, absolutely. Thank you.
You've done on your own. Hey, there it is, everybody. T&A Drywall Solutions, and our expert here, Taylor, and his team. You're watching the Your Little Castle Show. Get up.